Because in any personal endeavor, like if you have any kind of shit that you like doing, then it's going to be in your best interest to have a pretty significant amount of time, ideally probably per day, to dedicate to it so that you can constantly be, working towards whatever you're working towards. Now, that doesn't have to be lifting. That could be whatever the fuck you want to do. Of course, if I'm talking about anything, it's going to be about, lifting weights. But I'm not, like, I guess by nature, a fucking social butterfly per se. It's not like I don't hang out with the fucking fools every so often. But I don't have too much of a problem kind of, just chilling or reading the group chat but not replying, and kind of only, popping up every once in a blue moon. So if you're a real fucking outgoing dude, you're always kind of, like, okay, we gotta all hang out here. We gotta all go out here. All right, come on, let's go bar hopping tonight. Okay, whose house are we pre-gaming at? Kind of mixing in the fact that as you get older, hanging out with your buddies usually correlates with drinking. That's not in your best interest. I'm serious. I know it's kind of, it's not like everybody that says this follows it, but fucking, look, in terms of getting a badass leg pump or a crazy fucking chest day, right? If you've got that tomorrow and that's something that you really value and you actually want to kind of excel at it, the temporary benefit of enjoyment that night, in the long run, I don't think that's going to outweigh the long-term satisfaction you'll get from kind of having good lifts on a consistent basis. No, it doesn't have to be lifts. It could be anything. But, that's one thing that separates fucking man from animal, right? We've got the capability to employ delayed gratification. So, for the most part, of course, there's outliers, dudes who just were, like, massively lucky with whatever they did. They're just a baller by nature, which is sick for them, I guess. But if you're not capable of kind of, putting in work without any results for a long period of time, then you're not really then you shouldn't be surprised when you don't get any results. That's what I'm kind of trying to say. And again, I think I am kind of spoiled. Like with all these videos, the first one that I posted is the exact same format as this one. So I definitely kind of lucked out and hit the algorithm right on the head like that. But you gotta remember, before I recorded anything, even like some TikToks, there was fucking like 3.5 years of solo lifts, right? Where it was just me doing my thing. So it's, don't forget that anybody who's anybody, not that that's the point. It's not like I'm whatever, but anybody who's really fucking awesome at something, I think they're just capable of practicing it and actually kind of improving at it without anybody watching them. So I'm kind of jumbling all sorts of ideas into this little chat, but I guess what I'm really trying to say is don't be upset by the fact that this shit is going to take a while. You know what I'm saying? Don't be discouraged by the fact that, before you get to whatever your dream physique is. I don't know if I really have a dream physique. I just kind of want to keep growing as much as I can. But, before you can get to a point of absolute fucking, freakiness, it's going to take a long period of just doing the exact same fucking thing over and over and over again. But you got to remember that grind, that repetitive nature of your day in, day out routine, it will fucking add up. That is, if you can stick to it. And if you can rewire your brain to enjoy doing it, that's even better. Like, as often as I talk about motivation, like, oh, you gotta, just stay disciplined. I'm not even, in a way, I'm almost kind of just talking out my ass. There are some days where I do feel like extra tired. Like, let's say I had a full day of like exams and like I had to work on projects. So let's say I've been awake from like 6 to, let's include like procrastinating assignments too. So I've been up from like 6, studying exams, projects, whatever, and then I don't really get to go lift until like 10 at night. Like on a day like that where I'm really just fucking totally out of it, that's a day where I might have to tap into some discipline and say, okay, dude, fuck, I'm tired. All right, whatever, come on, let's go. Right? But for the most part, I just like fucking lifting, you know. So it's never something that I have to dread. I'm always looking forward to it. So if you can somehow rewire your brain like that, where you actually enjoy it, or make sure you do a routine that you enjoy, then you're going to have no issue doing this shit for years upon years on end, right? This is another thing I was trying to think of. Not only is it just, fun to have something to work at on a consistent basis, right? Fucking hobbies, whatever. Not just kind of whatever you got to do for work or school or anything. Just having something that you do purely for your own enjoyment, that's going to give you a pretty serious amount of satisfaction. But then taking that a step further, right? Practicing it and learning it and kind of, even obsessing over something like that to the point where you become skilled, dude, you got to remember, and it's at its fucking core of human nature. But I think a lot of people nowadays, not only am I fucking kind of concerned that we're pretty much on the first few big steps into technological dystopia, fucking, the Apple, is it? I forget the name of it. These dudes walking around with a VR headset,